Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
And I'm Brittany Pacheco, and we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We are here today to discuss the first episode of the DC Studios. Yeah, DC Studios. That sounds different. That sounds new. The DC Studios miniseries, The Penguin. So the first episode's titled After Hours. Before I get Brittany's opinion on the episode, I want to hit you with some facts about the Penguin. The Penguin release date was September. The first episode, the release date was September 19th, which was last Thursday. Now, the show beginning with episode 2 will be a Sunday night HBO show, so you can tell it's a prestige show. If you haven't seen the episode, just looking at the schedule, this is a prestige show because it's going to be on Sunday nights on HBO. Um, yeah, so the starts next week, episode 2, all the way to episode 8, which the finale will be November 10th. Um, the show is set exactly 1 week after the end of the Batman movie from 2022, Matt Reeves' film, which I think a lot of us saw. It was a 3-hour movie. It's a long movie. It's a very good movie, but also very long. So if you haven't seen that movie, I would recommend it, but not a movie you're probably going to rewatch too many times. The
Unless you're
showrunner,
Justin.
yeah, but even me, like I think I've seen it 5 times, and I'm probably good.
That's 4 more than I've seen. So
I saw it twice in theaters, I believe, at least
I
twice.
said what I said.
Yeah, I got you. Um, the showrunner is Lauren LaFranc. Matt Reeves is the executive producer. Matt Reeves, like I mentioned before, he's the director of the Batman saga, which he'll be doing Batman Part 2, which will follow this series in, I believe, in 2026. As I said, it's produced by DC Studios, and the cast includes, of course, Colin Farrell, Cristin Milioti, Rhenzy Feliz, Deirdre O'Connell, Clancy Brown, Carmen Ejogo, Jayme Lawson, Michael Kelly, and Mark Strong. Brittany, what'd you think about the first episode of The Penguin?
I was actually pretty surprised how much I enjoyed watching the premiere because I'm not a huge DC, like what's been going on with DC in the last few years. Like
Yeah.
I really haven't been impressed with what they've produced, with the exception of perhaps The Flash. I'm probably gonna get some flack for this, but like I really enjoyed The Flash. I thought that was a really well done movie, despite Ezra Miller's antics, if you will, and whatnot. But that movie overall, I thought was really well done. It was really good. For this movie, I'm sorry, this show to continue after the Batman, which I do agree was a very, very long movie. It's about 45 minutes, way too long. But I did enjoy it for what it was because it's not your typical like Batman who's already been Batman for quite some time. This is like a young Batman who's maybe in year 2 of being the Cape Crusader, if you will. So this for me, I thought, well, this is cool because we're still in that universe, which is still separate from uh the other Batman adaptations that we've seen, which I liked. And for Colin Farrell to portray Oz Oswald Cobble?
So the character's always his name's always been Oswald Cobblepot, but they
Cobblepot,
shortened it
right.
to Cobb for
Yeah.
this series. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I even in the Batman, I was actually surprised that this was Colin Farrell. I've seen Colin Farrell in a lot of different movies, and I think for one, In Bruges is one of my favorite movies of him. But I think it was you, Justin, who told me that that was Colin Farrell as the Penguin in the Batman, and I'm like, you're lying, like you're absolutely lying. But then the more I watched him, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see it. So kudos to Colin for getting a show based on this character. I think he's also an executive producer of the show, and it's it was a hell of a premiere, honestly. I was like, whoa, like how are they going to just keep this going? Because in the first 5 minutes, the Penguin murders somebody, like just in the first 5 minutes. And I'm like, whoa, like where do we go from here? So yeah, it grabbed my attention pretty fast. And I'm very curious to see what will be the rest of the storyline for this season.
Yeah. No, this was on my radar for a while. Um,
Yes, it has.
yeah. I mean, I'm more of a DC fan than the other watchers. So
Blasphemy.
yeah,
Well,
I
no,
mean look,
it's true.
no, it's definitely true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Marvel too. I probably love Marvel a little bit more than I love DC, but but I love him.
Oof.
But no, this has been on my radar for a while, and I was excited about when I first heard about it, but then I got kind of worried whenever I found out that the first episode was going to be released on a Thursday because I'd heard that it was going to be a Sunday night HBO show, and as I mentioned before, that's the prestige spot. That's where they have
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Succession, The Last of Us, all these major shows. And so I was like, is this actually going to be one of those type of shows or what's the deal? And I think they just want to drop it early because maybe they didn't have anything going on last week. And so they wanted to put something out real quick.
That's terrible.
This is a 10 out of 10 for me. This is an excellent like pilot episode. I think it's like perfect. Honestly, like I know
Whoa.
a lot of people have watched this episode that aren't really maybe into superheroes and maybe aren't into like Batman, but because it's kind of like a Sopranos style DC show with Batman characters,
Mhm.
I think it's pulling in a different kind of audience. And
Yeah.
no, I think it's a really good show. Super strong start for the first episode.
Cinematography wise, it looks like it's a movie.
Yeah.
And this is going to be
Oh yeah.
a mini series, right? So I think that speaks volumes. And also it's HBO, right?
Yeah.
HBO puts out quality work. That much has always been consistent,
Yeah.
especially with shows that we've reviewed here on the podcast. But I think Mel said it very well here. And shout out to Mel and King B Johnson who are in today's chat. We appreciate you being here. As always, Mel says Colin has done an amazing job bringing this character to life. Too believable, though, which makes him extra creepy for me, lol, like Joaquin Phoenix and the Joker. And I think that's very well put. And I think it's really great for these actors to tap into kind of like the psyche of these characters, if you will, because I remember in Batman Returns with Danny DeVito as the Penguin,
Right.
he actually took that role both on the stage and then off, right? He was method acting. He would stay in that character and scare the hell out of people and kids who would visit the set, which also, why were kids visiting the set? But anyway, so for Colin, I think to actually like in a way physically transform, although it's a bodysuit and prosthetics and what have you, I mean, he does not look like Colin Farrell. And then to again tap into that psyche of one Oswald Cobblepot, who is just like a loose cannon, for God's sakes. You laugh at the man and he's gonna murk you. So, and as for someone who's in their villain era, I think I think that's why I like this show, because now we're getting the villain story outside of the hero, who in this case is Batman, but seeing just the inner workings of the villain himself, and then the job that he does, because what he's trying to do is stay in business and actually be on top, right? He
Yeah.
works for the family, the Falcons, but he is trying to make a name for himself. And I think that's what's really interesting overall, is because this is very much a villain, and we know, but
Mhm.
I like the backstory. I like seeing how they operate. And I think that's also what drew me to this show.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, you're right. He's not a hero. He's not like he's a villain. And like he's like right now he's a mid-level gangster, right?
Yeah.
Um he's trying to work his way up. There's these two dominant crime families in Gotham. There's the Maronis and the Falcones. Now, in some Batman stories, they're the Falcones. So it's just depends on who's telling the story. But in this universe, it's the Falcones. And he's basically, as we see in this episode, he's trying to pit these two gangs against each other so that he can be the one that takes over what's left of the of Gotham. So
Yeah. It's what's that saying about watch the right hand while the left hand does,
right.
other things. And yeah, I thought it was really brilliant how everything just kind of worked out,
Yeah.
because I was like, how is he going to be able to get himself out of this mess, right?
Yeah, no, and it's that seems like what he's really good at. Oz is really good at talking his way out of really bad situations, and he gets himself into some really tough situations in this episode. But before we get that, let's talk a little bit more about the cast because obviously Colin Farrell, he is the Penguin. He's the lead character, the title character. Let's talk about some of the other characters. Brittany, what'd you think about his sidekick? Who this kid who's trying to rob him, who becomes
Mhm.
his protege, Victor Aguilar.
Vic, poor Vic, you know, just I won't quite say innocent, but
Right.
he's quickly turning over to the dark side, if you will. Shout out to Marcy too, who's in the chat for agreeing. Yes, for villain eras. Yes, trademark that shit because we're kind of here for it at this point. But for Vic, who apparently is without, right? Doesn't perhaps have a home to go to or a family to go home to. He's just, you know, running with the wrong crowd, trying to steal uh the Penguin's very, you know, subtle Maserati here, the plum color Maserati. But he inadvertently gets caught. He is having to work for the Penguin in order to stay alive, if you will. But something that the Penguin he recognized was that Vic has a disability, if you will. He has a speech impediment. He stutters, stammers. I never quite understood the difference between the two, but poor kid under extreme stress just was not able to utter a word. And I think for Oswald, who also has a disability
Right.
with his club foot, which I have a question.
Yeah.
What's up with HBO and their fetish with club feet? Because we also have that in House of the Dragon with the club foot. I'm just like, what is
I don't
happening here?
I don't think we got as good of a shot of the foot in House of the Dragon as we did in this show.
Nor do I want it.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
let's
Yeah,
let's
his
be clear.
yeah.
But it's just
Oz's foot, his right foot is
whew,
it's jacked up. He's got toes on top of toes that
yeah.
it should be kind of even, but
I was kind of expecting to maybe see an extra digit, you know, but
right.
it's you know the same number of digits as everyone's, but yeah, they're very like, you know, just
Yeah.
um, ow. But for Oswald to like recognize that this kid, you know, has like a disability of sorts, he hasn't maybe been given chances in life. Oswald's going to go out on a limb and say, listen, like I'm gonna have you work for me, but you lack ambition, you lack drive. And Vic kind of surprised me in kind of standing up to Oswald uh later on in the show, saying, like, I've got ambition, like I just need a chance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like not the right crowd to run with, but I appreciate the determination and the drive, if you will.
I think it's interesting that Vic is, he's how he meets Oswald is he's trying to, steal his hubcaps or whatever from his car.
Mm,
And that is very similar to one of the Robin characters in the Batman story in the comic books. Jason Todd, that's how Batman meets Jason Todd, is he's trying to um, you know, rob him basically.
mhm,
So I like how they kind of like twist that and gave the villain this, and now the villain has a sidekick. So
yeah.
I enjoyed Vic. I wasn't familiar with this actor. I think this might be his first big role, but
I feel like I've seen him before in maybe some minor things, like maybe when he was younger, because he doesn't
yeah,
look to be that old or anything. But
right.
I thought that was a really strong performance,
Yeah.
just from the two altogether.
And Brittany, you mentioned about how we're not sure about his family life because he doesn't really talk about it, but
Mm.
we do know that from what happened at the end of the Batman movie, where the Riddler is the main villain in that film, and he's a madman. He basically destroys the seawall in Gotham. Part of Gotham is flooded. It's
Yeah,
basically like Houston after a hurricane, pretty much.
seriously,
Yeah, no, yeah,
jeez, especially
really,
Harvey. Good
yeah,
lord.
really not a joke.
Harvey, another character
There you
from
go,
Batman
Harvey Dent.
universe.
There we go. Yeah. Um, but no, like you know, Oz the Penguin, he does tell Vic that like where your family lived or where they were, where they were, that building is no longer there.
Yeah,
So he may have lost all his family. So now
yeah.
he gets taken in by Oz, and the way that he gets taken in is pretty interesting because the way the episode opens, it's like I said, it's a week after the Batman. In the Batman, Carmine
Hmm.
Falcone, who is the head of the Falcone crime family, he gets killed by the Riddler. He gets gunned down
Yes.
on the street outside the Iceberg Lounge, which is the Penguins club, within the Falcone, one of the Falcone buildings. And so with Carmine out of the way, you've got the son, Alberto, he's now come into power. He's the new quote unquote kingpin of the Falcone crime family.
Hmm.
And he has a little talk with Oz. He insults him, and we learned the number one rule with the Penguin is you don't laugh at him because that's what Alberto does, and that's why Alberto doesn't last more than 5 minutes. He gets Oz shoots him 3 or 4 times, and you see kinda how impulsive the character is, and you also see, like, after he does it, he regrets it because now he's killed, the like I said, the
The
new
boss.
kingpin. Yeah, the boss, the new boss,
Mhm.
and now he's gotta figure out how do I get myself out of this one? And, as fate would have it, Vic and his friends are trying to boost him down there, and, Vic is the one who doesn't escape, and now he becomes an accomplice to Oz's, uh Oz's crime.
Yep. Yeah, just casually like, "Hey, like, I could either kill you now or you do as I say." And
Yeah.
let me just say too before all that with Oz after he realizes, shit, like, I murdered this guy. Now I gotta clean up the mess. I gotta dispose the body and holds, what's the word? Lugs the body over his shoulder,
Yeah.
proceeds to go down the stairs, and then it's kind of like this realization of like, wait, this guy's dead. Fuck it. And just
Yeah.
like tosses him off the stairs. I laughed. I
Yeah.
was like, oh God, I'm a horrible person. But I mean, it makes sense. The guy is dead. He's not
Yeah.
coming back. And if there was any thought that he was still alive, he dead at that point. So I thought that was hilarious, of course. But then just for Oz to tell Vic, hey, you wanted my car so bad, like you're driving, like go get the car, back it up and pop the trunk open. We're gonna dispose this body. Yeah. Oh, real quick, Justin in the chat, Mel's asking, what does your shirt say? I thought it was kind of appropriate, honestly. It says it's killed me, which is actually a quote from Draco Malfoy in
Okay.
Prisoner of Azkaban when Buckbeak the hippogriff scratches him and Draco's being a dramatic boy and says, it's killed me. Anyway, I thought it was appropriate for today's show. Just saying.
As far as we know, Draco Malfoy's not in the Batman crime saga, but you never know. The actor might be. Who knows? He
Uh
he did a DC show. He was on
he
The
did he
Flash.
did
Yeah.
do a DC show. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Never know. You never know.
Could be the new Riddler. Just saying.
Right. So we talked about how Alberto Falcone, he gone. He dead. However, he
I
has a
love it
sis
when you say he
yeah,
gone.
he gone. Um, however, he does have a sister, and we meet the sister, and I believe that this actress is the breakout star of the show. We have
Dude.
Cristin Milioti playing Sophia Falcone, aka the Hangman, and she received that nickname because she was a serial killer. She was basically a psycho who killed a bunch of people, which we're gonna see that, I believe, in some flashbacks in some upcoming episodes. But
Nice.
Brittany, what'd you think about this character? Because she comes into the scene, and I think she takes over.
With her walking in over Oz's shoulder when he's
Yep.
been summoned by the family to basically shut down operations, right? They're shutting down the operations in Gotham and moving it elsewhere because there's too much heat happening in Gotham. To which Oz, of course, is like, pissed because he brings in money. He's going to lose out on money, and then he starts talking about this big shipment that's coming in that he only knows about because he hijacked Alberto's phone to see that there's the shipment going to be delivered at some point in time. And he's trying to pitch it as his own, but then over the shoulder you see Sophia in all white, and I'm like, oh, this is ominous, isn't it? With her listening and approaching, and she's just very calm, very chill. I'm like, that bitch is a psycho. Like, I didn't need to know any backstory about her whatsoever. I was just like, no, she's way too calm, way too whatever. And then when Oz says to her, like, Sophia, like, I didn't know you were here. I thought you were, and she finishes the sentence of still at Arkham, and he goes, yeah. She says, I've been rehabilitated, and smiles, and
Yeah.
I'm like, nope, that's a lie.
See,
That's a
Brittany,
lie.
one of the trailers for this show was great because as she's saying that line, they show her like fighting or killing someone like in prison. So
Oh,
it was kind of played for laughs in the trailer as much as you can make,
got
killing
it.
somebody in prison a joke, but, you really hit on something that I wanna talk about. I love the way she delivers her lines. I love the way she talks.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
so, like
methodical.
it's yeah, it's
Yeah,
what a great character.
yeah.
This is a character that is in the comic books, but we've only seen her this is the second live action. I think she was also in the Gotham TV show, which I only watched the first season of Gotham. It was on Fox, I believe, several years ago. But no, this character is great, and, I really do think that she's, like, the big winner from the first episode.
Oh,
Just,
yeah.
how crucial she is to the story, and, I wanna figure out, like, what is her history with Oz, and I think we're gonna get that probably very soon. It seems like they have some kind of a friendship. I don't think it's like a
Sexual.
relationship per se. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think it's that. I think it's, you know, obviously he knew her kind of as she was growing up, and
Mhm.
obviously he knew about that she became this like psycho, psychotic serial killer. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah, I'm curious to know their history, right? Her background in general, what ultimately landed her in Arkham, and
right.
how she has been able to come back to general society and not be a threat, I guess you could say. But clearly that, is very, very untrue. I mean, I think a definition of a sociopath would have her photo, right underneath said definition. Because when she and Oz, after that meeting,
Mhm.
she reveals that it was her brother who had this plan, right? This shipment, what have you, and she's kind of calling him out on it. Like, how do you know about it?
Yeah.
Like, and why are you pitching it as your own? And that kind of thing. And have you seen my brother? Because he went out and then he never came back. He hasn't checked in, blah, 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 blah. And
Yeah.
so they go to lunch, and she's behaving very, I don't know, how do you say it? Just uh, no etiquette. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, she's eating the salad with her hands and just like, I don't know, just ugh. And having this continued conversation about like, how do you know about the shipment? Where's my brother? Blah blah blah. And I liked how Oz flipped it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
How he flipped it and basically said, "Hey, like, your brother's been keeping both of us out of the dark. I didn't know that you were out of Arkham. He didn't tell you about how he was bringing me in on this plan. Like, and then your brother's over here on a bender because he's a known like alcoholic, drug addict, whatever, whatever, which piques Sophia's interest, right? She's like, "What do you mean
Yeah.
on a bender?" He's like, "Listen, like, he has a problem.
Yeah.
He has a problem, but this happens. Like, he goes on a bender, he's gone for a few days, but he'll be back. Like, don't worry, he'll be back." Little does she know that the boy is rotting away in a unused car trunk
Right.
somewhere on the outskirts of Gotham, one would assume, right? So I liked how all of that played out. That was really interesting because it's like you're watching like chess be played before you, and it's just really fascinating. I don't know how to play chess. I wouldn't be good at this villain era, but I'm in it. But yeah, it was really fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, with the Oz, like we said, from the second that he kills Alberto, he puts a plan in action, and
Yeah.
that plan plays out over the first episode. But you can see that Sophia, she doesn't trust him or she doesn't believe him.
Oh no. Yeah, for
And
sure.
she's also a very smart character. And I do like I said, I love how she's like, do I make you nervous? I'd hate for you to feel nervous with me. And and she's explained to him that, people underestimated you, but I never did. I think you're capable of more. And which kind of plays into his ego a little bit. But she knows like he's crafty. He's working his way up, like he's trying to figure out all the angles to survive and of course eventually take
Mhm.
over.
Yeah.
Um, but I really love this character. What a great character. And I think, I think we're gonna get a lot more of her story
Oh, we have to. I
very
mean,
soon.
the story is definitely going to be how, even though she got like an answer in the very end about her brother,
Yeah.
it's going to be really about who's really behind all of this. And I think her suspicions of Oswald is going to be at the forefront.
Yeah. What'd you think about the scene where she has Oz tortured?
Oh,
He's stripped naked, and then they I don't know what you call that. They put like this like
it's like a
metal,
wire. It's
yeah,
like
some kind of metal wire. And they're just like cutting into his arm and shoulder. Like
oh my
looks incredibly
god.
painful. Yeah.
My god. It that was like the cringiest moment for me. I mean, you would think the foot would have been because
Right.
you know how much I hate feet.
Yeah.
People, if y'all don't know this, I hate feet. I think feet are the
It's
most
yeah.
disgusting thing
Right.
like to ever be
I mean, you
in
like
existence.
having them, but you don't. Yeah.
Well, I need my feet
Yes.
and I
Right.
have little feet, so they're cute. But I think feet feet overall are just disgusting. So
Yeah.
that's just me. Sidebar. But to see him being stripped naked and having that wire kind of wrapped around his shoulder and then like tightened to start cutting into the skin.
Yeah.
That was intense.
Yeah.
That was absolutely intense. And for Sophia to be like questioning him, of course, about herself in a way. She's like, tell me I'm not out of my mind. Tell
Yeah.
me I'm not being, ridiculous. Tell me this. I was like,
Yeah.
this woman is unwell.
Yeah.
Very much unwell. And as Mel says here, she says that scene was pretty gross. And
Yeah.
it was pretty gross. My goodness, that was just
Well, that's
Marcy,
what.
don't call me out like that. People with foot fetishes are going to start coming for me. I will never have an only what do you call it? No,
OnlyFans?
not OnlyFans, but like they do it for feet.
Only feet? Maybe I don't know.
I don't know what they're called, but like sell my feet for feet pics, for money.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Not my
yeah,
deal. Yeah.
not ideal.
Uh,
No,
no,
again,
but
they're cute, but no.
yeah. But no, Mel brings up a good point about how this is kind of a gross series. This is definitely a rated R series, which the
Oh
Batman
yeah,
was a PG-13 movie. So, of course, like you can't
it
really have you.
was.
Yeah, it's PG-13. Yeah.
I don't
It
remember
wasn't
that.
R-rated. Yeah.
Wiki
So
feet.
Mickey Feet. Yeah.
Gross.
Um, so
Jesus
you can
mercy.
tell in this series, I mean, there's a lot of F word, very violent. This is an R-rated HBO show. So I do like how they like up the tone as they've continued the storyline of the Batman saga with the Penguin. The important question is, how does Justin know about this stuff? This is from Melly Mel. I clearly don't know about the feet stuff. I was throwing stuff out there.
I thought she
I
meant like how do you know about my dislike towards feet? And I was like, well, we've known
oh
each other for like 10 years at this
oh no,
point.
yeah,
So
no, you told me
yeah,
that many times. Yeah.
many times. Cheese and feet. And then
Yeah.
Justin combined that together and
Right.
saying, oh yeah, you love cheesy feet, don't you? I'm like,
Yeah.
ew, gross.
Like
Stop
nacho
it.
feet would be your favorite thing
Stop
ever.
it.
Yeah.
Stop talking.
Yeah.
Stop
No,
it.
I know. It's
I will end the
disgusting.
stream here and now.
That's disgusting. Yeah.
I have control.
Yes, I have equal control, but then you probably have more control. So not
Uh-huh.
exactly equal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I think it's interesting that the show is it's an R-rated Batman type show. That's I didn't think I would see that day, but
Right. What a time to be alive.
very cool
You get to
stuff.
see club feet.
Yeah.
You get to see torture.
Yeah. And so why Sophia is torturing Oz, before he's like trying to get a hold of Vic, because obviously they have a plan, and at the perfect moment Vic delivers with the body of Alberto. The car crashes into the Falcone estate, and I think she don't you think she knew her brother was dead? Or do you think
I
she
think
thought her brother
she
was kidnapped, or do you think he was did she know that he was dead somewhere? What do you think about that?
She definitely knew that there was something off
Yeah.
because she said that despite all the things that she had encountered while at Arkham, the torture that she endured, right?
Yeah.
Which she was also exhibiting on Oswald. She did say that the one consistent thing that she did have was her brother visiting her every single week. Like he never missed out. So obviously they're very close in supporting one another, if you will. So like for him to turn up missing and without letting her know, I think that was obviously the red flag. And because she just so happened to hear what Oswald was pitching, that was actually her brother's plan. It's like, okay, I'm going to put two and two together because she's smart. Obviously, she has to be very smart, and she suspected that he had something to do with it. That's why she went to the places that Oswald visited after having murdered Alberto. Right? He goes to a lady friend's house to ask for an alibi, and Sophia is following every single step that Oswald took after the murder, right? And it catches up to him because, again, very subtle plum Maserati in Gotham, right? It's you stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, it's a nice car though. It looks cool.
It's a nice car, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Like, purple's not my favorite color, but like I like purple. As a companion color to like black, right?
Purple's a very penguin color though.
Oh, extremely. Like he had the purple, like the plum jacket when he went to go visit the family, which I thought was really nice. But he goes and checks up on I guess the said lady friend, and who's there? Sophia with her gang, leads to this chase where they get blocked off and what have you. Fight ensues, and she is on to him, obviously. Whether she actually knew that her brother was dead or not at that point, she just knew that Oswald had some sort of involvement in the disappearance of her brother. And getting that confirmation at the very end of, okay, her brother is dead. He's in the back of a trunk, but on the inside of the trunk says payback.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with Oswald, right? I mean, he works for the family, or that's what he wants everyone to believe. Right. So it was really masterfully, I think, planned for Oswald to go visit. I'm Clancy. That's who I'm thinking.
Salvatore Maroni. That's the other crime family is headed up by Salvatore Maroni, who was ratted out by Carmen. That's why he's in Blackgate in prison.
Right.
And there is a scene where Oz goes to visit him in the prison, and he brings with him his ring, which it was his ring. However, whenever he went to prison, Carmine had that ring and he wore it as a trophy. We learned that from Alberto, because Alberto at the beginning of the show has the ring on his pinky, and he obviously does not keep that ring for long. Oz gets the ring, brings the ring with him to Blackgate prison, and gives it to Maroni kind of as like a peace offering. Like, here you go. Like, I'm ready to work for you. And just to show you, how committed I am, here's this ring. And, Clancy Brown, who plays Salvatore Maroni, he wants no part to do with Oswald, because he doesn't trust him. Right. But he is surprised at the fact that he has that ring. Somehow, he got that ring from the Falcones, and you can tell he's pretty interested in that, which then sets up, like you said, the payback message, which definitely to the Falcones looks like the Maronis are getting their payback by killing off Alberto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was curious as to how this was all going to be put together to take the heat off of Oz, right? Because he's already being tortured at this point, and Vic, prior to all this, is not answering his phone as Oz is trying to get in touch with him. You don't know if Vic is going to just like jump ship, or he's actually like following through with the plan, whatever the plan was. And it sounded like it was more gruesome than what it ended up actually being, because Oz wanted like a decapitated head, the missing pinky. He really wanted something gruesome, and Vic, for reasons clearly, could not fulfill all of that, but did, get the pinky off and throw keep the guy in the back of the trunk. So I think it sent a stronger message, like keeping Alberto intact as much as possible, but the missing pinky was the real crucial part of it, because that's where he wore
the ring.
The ring.
Yeah, no, it is really masterful. Like the first time I watched the episode, I obviously followed it, but when I watched it again, you really see like how Oz sets all these plans in motion. He gets the alibi with his lady friend, who's a prostitute, but also someone that he's connected to, and he just like step by step sets it up. And the fact that he can think so well on his feet, whenever he's put in a tough situation, like when Sophia challenges him, and she believe me, she's going to challenge him much more, I
Oh
think, as
yeah,
we go
for
forward
sure.
in this show.
And not only that, had dirt on one of the Falcons, right?
Yeah, Johnny Vitti, I believe it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
who's
him.
played by Michael Kelly. Yeah,
Right. Had dirt on him, some photos that looked very incriminating, and was gonna send those photos to, I guess, the new mayor
right.
of Gotham. And I mean, he's just trying to take down the family from within,
Yeah,
right? And I think he'll do probably whatever it takes in order to be the man on top.
yeah,
And I think it's really interesting, just like these moves and counter moves that are playing out. But I mean, overall, I was really impressed with this episode. It was just like,
yeah,
whoa, just so much happening
yeah.
all at once. And we haven't spoken about Oz's mother
I was actually
yet.
about to mention her. Yeah, let's
Or
talk about her. We've got Deirdre O'Connell, who plays Frances Cobb, who is Oz's mother, who is suffering from early onset dementia, as we
Mhm.
kind of find out whenever Oz goes to visit her.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny. He goes to visit her after all this stuff's going down. And he's like, he basically wants to get out of town. He wants them to,
Yeah.
pack up and go on a vacation and get out of town, get away from it all. And
Right.
she is the opposite. She wants him to stick around and don't be weak. And like, this is your moment to seize, you know,
Everything you've ever
yeah,
wanted,
right. And so
you know?
she's like his like driving force. And
Mhm.
so I wonder, like, if you watch the, coming ahead, in the weeks ahead of the show, the trailer, the teaser,
Mhm.
you see her talking to him several times, and she kind of has like these instructions for him. And Brittany, I was thinking about this today. I was like, do you think like I mean, obviously she does have dementia, but do you think that he's like kind of carrying out her plan? Like she has I mean, obviously she wants to see her son rise to prominence, but
Mhm.
I wonder if it's more layered than that. I wonder if she actually has some kind of like plan to that she wants him to enact.
I think anything is possible at this point because we know that Oz has or had brothers
Right.
that do not appear in the show
Yeah.
just yet. It just seems like it's him and his mother against the world, if you will.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's backstory that could support this plan, if it's his mother's or if it's his and she just supports him and what have you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure whose long-term plan this may be,
Yeah.
because she is kind of giving him like a pep talk in a way after he tells her, I murdered Alberto Falcone
Mhm.
and they're going to come after us. I need to get you out of here. I need to take care of you. And she's like, I didn't raise you to be like this. Like
Yeah.
you say this was impulsive, but you knew exactly what you were doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
a parent knows their child better than the child itself. Right. So I think that's kind of interesting, interesting dynamic, but um it would be an interesting theory if maybe this was her plan that has been put in motion. He's just kind of fulfilling it all. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Because you brought up the point about how when we're in her house, they show the walls and they're filled with photos, and you definitely see three sons or three boys, and I wonder if maybe her other sons were maybe killed in some kind of gang related,
Yeah,
uh, you know, between the Falcones and Maronis or something. And I wonder if
yeah,
like it's his. Not only does he want to become the kingpin and take over the crime world of Gotham, but maybe this is like a revenge plan. That maybe
it's very
the
likely.
mother and Oz are kind of enacting slowly.
It's
Yeah,
very likely. I think
yeah,
that would probably be a really good motive. I mean, he obviously had to travel very far from Gotham, took several trains, took an unknown car to get to his mother's house. He brought someone who's still a stranger to him, right? In with regards to Vic, brought Vic home to his mother and said, I've never brought anyone here before.
yeah,
You keep your mouth shut, you mind your manners, blah blah blah. And so this this side of Oz who is going to great lengths to protect his family, speaks volumes. And going back to the whole, did his brothers die as a result of like gang wars or something? I think is very valid. And that's why he was so quick to wanting to take his mother out from where they are to run and hide. And but then that would further obviously Oz's guilt, or his actions, and he has something to do with the crime that is Alberto.
Yeah, no, good point.
It just solidifies it.
Yeah, when to go to the chat with King B Johnson's got a question. Does anyone see any comparisons with other Batman lore? He says hashtag the movies, the comics. I know I've read some stuff about the comics where there is the Long Halloween storyline in the comic books where some of these characters and some of these storylines are kind of pulled from that. And there's another comic book that came out in the late 90s called Batman Dark Victory. And some of the stuff we see in this series is based on that as well. So, that's as far as I can do is with the comics. As far as the movies, this movie version of the Batman is the most realistic and grounded and gritty.
Yeah. It's more
After what we
believable.
saw. Yeah, I mean, like the first two Batman movies with Michael Keaton were somewhat grounded, and then with Batman and Forever and Batman and Robin, it became more campy and neon colors and all kinds of stuff. And then we got the reboot, which was the Dark Knight trilogy, which
Yeah.
I still think are the best Batman movies by far. And those are very grounded. Christopher Nolan taking on this character, but there are some fantastical stuff in those movies that I don't think we're going to see in this franchise.
Yeah.
This
I
is
agree.
even more grounded than the Dark Knight. So,
Yeah.
I think I don't know that there's a ton of in movie. There's no comparison to what we're seeing in the Penguin. I don't believe as far as Batman, but
No.
But no, really
Yeah.
good question.
Will Colin Farrell surpass Danny DeVito being the Penguin? I think it's apples and oranges. Honestly, I mean, you look at the sort of character that Danny DeVito played with the very penguin-like features with the hands and the teeth and the eating of the fish. Very very characteristic of that of a true penguin. And I don't think we're going to get that at all with this Penguin, right? Like one is like Justin said is more campy than this. This is more grounded. This is more real. This is more believable in the sense of there are gangs out there in the world, let alone here in a fictional town of Gotham City. But that kind of stuff is far easier to believe than having a Danny DeVito Penguin with circus characters who are part of the gang and what have you. I mean, Colin Farrell is a great actor in his own right. Danny DeVito is a great actor in his own right. But I think ultimately it's just apples and oranges.
Yeah, and I think because all the Batman versions we've seen are all different, right? Like Michael Keaton's Batman is not similar to Christian Bale's Batman. It's not similar to Ben Affleck's Batman. It's not similar to Robert Pattinson's Batman. Just like Jack Nicholson's Joker is great, but it's nothing like Heath Ledger's Joker, which was brilliant. Which is nothing like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, which is a different kind of Joker, but that's also brilliant.
So good.
I think what we've seen with Batman and Joker, we're now seeing with Penguin, where we saw in the 1960s there was Burgess Meredith. By the way, speaking of Burgess Meredith, did you notice in the episode there's a Burgess jewelry store that they show a couple of times? That's a reference to Burgess Meredith. So Burgess Meredith's Penguin was different than obviously Danny DeVito's, and that's obviously much different than Colin Farrell's. And I do, as far as like which one will be the most iconic or the most, whoever's favorite, that's up for debate. But I do think because this is an HBO prestige series, I do think that Colin Farrell, this might be an award-winning kind of show. I mean, I really believe that after the first episode, how strong it was. So, it may be a thing where like Heath Ledger, won a best actor, right? Or best supporting actor for his role. Of course, it was posthumously because he tragically died. But I think this could be like an award-winning kind of performance from Colin Farrell.
And I think keeping with the theme of it being darker, grittier, grounded, that's what's going to make this adaptation of Penguin even probably more successful than what we got with the Tim Burton films, right? You know, and those films are my favorite because that's what I grew up with. But despite all that, it's I think this is way like if I were to walk outside, right, and I see a disfigured man, if you will, who is running like a drug operation, what have you, I'm gonna believe it because that's real life, right?
Right.
So
Whereas if you see like a 4-footish tall man with a army of penguins who were strapped with rocket launchers to their backs, like that's not as believable. But that's what we saw in Batman Returns.
considering I too am 4 foot something
Well,
and would have an army of corgis. Yes. No.
but you wouldn't be called the penguin though. You'd be called the
The
corgi,
mother
I
of
guess. The
corgis.
mother of corgis. There we go. Yeah. Um, yeah. So I did want to point out about the Burgess Meredith thing because I noticed that
Very
right
nice.
away.
Very nice.
Another member of the cast that I want to mention is a character we don't see much. We only see him like one time in a still an image from a news report, and that is the character of Falcone, Carmine Falcone, because in the movie he dies. However, in this show they've recast that character. In the movie, John Turturro played Carmine Falcone. In this series, we're going to get Mark Strong playing the character, and there's apparently going to be several flashbacks, so that's why they recast the character.
Okay,
And
because I was very confused about Mark
yeah,
Strong's
right,
affiliation with the show, and I was just like, "Wait, I
yeah,
didn't see Mark Strong in this," and I'm very familiar with Mark
yeah. We
Strong.
at the beginning of the movie or the show, I keep saying movie because it looks like a movie. At
It
the beginning
does.
of the show, they show an image of him, like a black and white image, talking about how he he's been dead for a week or whatever, and that's Mark Strong, and he's
Oh,
got a
okay.
wig and like a fake mustache because he's
Ah,
trying to
okay.
look like the John Turturro version of Carmine from the Batman
Gotcha.
film. Yeah. But I wanted to point out with Mark Strong, he is no stranger to DC films. He appeared as Sinestro in the 2011 Green Lantern movie. He also was Dr. Thaddeus Savannah in both the Shazam films, Shazam and Shazam Fear of the Gods. So
He was
that
also in the
guy,
Kingsman,
right?
Secret Service, so
Yeah,
loved him in that.
yeah. Um, so yeah, that pretty much wraps up the cast. I mean, I think
Yeah.
there's a couple other people we're gonna get. Obviously, this is just the first episode, but
Mhm.
lots of other stuff to come. What did you think about the way the episode ended? Where there's a part in the show where you see how Oz is trying to. He's always looking for like affirmation.
Yeah.
He's
Vic.
telling Vic. He's like, hey, you ever been to that store on whatever street? And Vic's like, yeah,
Mhm.
buddies. He's like, oh, you still got those slush puppies? And he's like, you ever mix up all the drinks and have a suicide? And the kid's like, no. He's like, but I would like to. And so at the end of the episode, they're both drinking those suicide multi flavored slushies, and
Mhm.
I do like how every thread they spin in this episode, they kind of come back around to it.
Yeah. No,
And
that was
yeah,
very well thought out of and just like, "Hey, you did good. Reward yourself.
yeah,
Cheers,"
right,
kind of situation.
right,
But of course I wonder too with well, I don't have to wonder. Vic only agreed to Oz about the slush puppies. It's like, "Oh yeah, but I would like to."
yeah,
Was like in the future,
right,
in other words, he's trying to solidify that the boy's gonna live, right?
right,
Like, you're not gonna kill me because there was one point in the junkyard when they're disposing the body in the trunk of that car where Oz is like, "Hey, turn around, look at that sunrise." But he's got like the what do you call it?
air freshener. No, 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 no,
No,
no, no, no, no.
the thing to pop open the trunk. What's it freaking
Oh, right,
called?
yeah, crowbar or something.
Crowbar. Thank you.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
How Oz has that in his hand. He tells Vic, "Turn around. There's look at that sunlight. That sunrise is beautiful." And Vic knew. He's like, "Please, like, please." The stammering, stuttering is
yeah,
coming back up. Like, please don't do this. Like, and this is where the whole big like, I've got ambition. I just need a chance and what have you. And Oz is like, "Look, the smart thing to do would be to kill you right here, right now. Like, and throw you in here with Stinky." Which I thought was hilarious how he referred to Alberto as
yeah,
Stinky at that point. But Vic trying to survive like every moment that he's with Oz
yeah.
and for him to say like, yeah, I would like to try that, in the future.
Yeah, no,
It's a great line.
it's great the way they do that. And what'd you think about them listening to 9 to 5? That's the way they
Working 9 to 5. Yeah, that was great.
and
Gotta love
that was a song that like Odds has the CD. That's not just
I know.
yeah, that's not
I
just a
wonder,
song.
is it like a pure Dolly Parton CD or is it like a mixed CD? Like how we used to do
Sure.
back in the day.
Yeah. I'm
What
not
other
sure, but
songs are on that CD?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. What would be Oz's mix? I mean, Ozzy Osbourne, like, is that too that's too on the
Ooh,
nose
Crazy
maybe?
Train.
Crazy
Crazy
Train, there we
Train
go. Yeah.
on yeah, for sure.
No, but I did wanna point out the music, not just the songs that were played, but, like, just the theme music. Now,
Yeah.
you've probably heard of Michael Giacchino because he has done a ton of stuff for Marvel.
Yep.
He directed Werewolf by Night, which is a
Yes.
Halloween themed movie that came out a couple years ago, which is it's also in color if you wanna check that out. But
Yep.
he's working on the Fantastic Four theme.
Didn't he also
He's
score the
he
Batman?
did yep, he did all 3 Spider-Man movies of Tom Holland, and he also did
That's
the
right.
Batman.
Mhm.
However, in this series, if you look on the credits, it's a Mick Giacchino. His son did the, the theme music for the Penguin, and I thought the music was excellent. I think the timing
Bravo.
of the music in certain points, you know, like, I don't know what I don't know if it's like a not a fiddle, but what instrument you think is the
Like a
predominant.
violin or a
Yeah,
viola
something
or
like
something
that.
like that.
Yeah. I thought
Okay.
that was, very well done. Obviously, the cinematography of the show, it looks incredible. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think the show looks better than the movie from because the movie
Ah,
was pretty heavy on the volume, which I'm sure that
yeah.
the show is also, but, like,
Mhm.
it seems like maybe because it's a couple years later, they've learned how to use that technology to, you know, improve the way it looks.
Probably so, but I feel like the the atmosphere of it or just like the lighting treatment and what have you, it's very reminiscent, of course, of the Batman.
Mhm.
But as I said at the top of the show, cinematography wise, it looks like it's a movie and
Yeah.
it's a mini series, which is blowing my mind. But I
Yeah.
love the fact of like the uh practical sets, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
right? I'm not sure how much live like they're live on or
They
in
sh
location.
No, they shot in New York for a little while,
Okay. Okay.
specifically before the strikes of last year.
Oh,
So, they did a lot of
okay.
that before that all happened. So,
Nice.
yeah,
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, no, I mean, like the fact that it's like you look at it and of course it's Gotham, but I'm like, nah, that's New York City, like for
yeah,
sure. But yeah, practical sets, it doesn't have like the flashy effects of that of any kind. Or really
yeah,
it just looks good. It looks good. I think
yeah.
from what I remember of the Batman, it's pretty on par.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the technology, they've improved it and they've just
Mhm.
made it look better, but I do think there's more, you know, like you said, there's more, you know, filming in the real world
Yeah.
in this as opposed to the Batman film.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, and just
um
like the prosthetics that
oh,
Colin
yeah,
is wearing
yeah,
for I mean, look if you look, behind me on my shoulder right here, you
yeah,
see like the scar across the cheek and
yeah,
just and I saw behind the scenes of Colin getting ready as the penguin and just how they had to, pretty much flatten down his hair and they put the ball cap on and then they put the wig and put the everything. I mean, that's
yeah,
man, that's dedication to the craft.
yeah. It's
I
between 3 and 5 hours every day putting that
crazy,
on, yeah.
crazy.
And, you know, in the Batman movie, he's only in about si the Penguin's only about in about 6 or 7 scenes. So,
Yeah.
um, Colin Farrell was he really wanted to continue this character, but he kinda
Mhm.
wanted to be like, "Hey, like, if I'm gonna do this, let's give me some more to work with." And so,
Oh yeah.
no, I think this show's off to a great start. Right now, we're in
Agreed.
a good place for superhero fans because we've got this show and we've got Agatha All Along, which are very different shows.
Oh yeah.
But both are great in their own right, and, we're
Yes.
gonna be covering both every week, and I'm really looking forward to both shows, but this show, like, I think this show is so I expected this show to be good, but, like, this show is so much better than I thought, and I think it's I don't know, I think it's phenomenal already, like,
Yeah, I
can't
know
wait for
you
episode 2.
I know you and I were talking offline about what were we going to do. Were we going to do weekly for both shows
Right.
or just one show? We were going to do just the premiere and then the finale of either one. And I mean, I know you and the guys also have your weekly football
Yeah.
pod. So I mean, we're busy here with Watchers in
We
the
are.
Basement. We're trying to bring you as much content as possible, but you know, I know Mel here. She's in the chat saying she's super excited for Agatha,
Yeah.
and we are too. I mean, the first 2 episodes were incredible. I'm learning the song, y'all. By the way, I'm learning the song. But yeah, for me personally, who's not a huge DC fan,
Yeah.
for me to come here and say, okay, yeah, this show is worth doing a weekly pod over. Hopefully, we can get others from the podcast to join us. Marcy, hopefully, will be able to join us next time for episode 2 of The Penguin. And we'll just have to convince the other guys, like, hey, you need to watch this. Okay. If I'm saying it's good, that's saying something because I'm picky as hell. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's worth noting that this is obviously a black label and Elseworlds kind of project for DC because James Gunn's new
No one
DCU
cares.
has not started yet. I care. I care
No
quite
one
a
cares.
bit. But
No,
no,
not at
I
all.
did enjoy how this show opens with the new DC Studios logo, which
Mhm.
also the Christopher Reeve documentary Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, which I saw over the weekend. It's an excellent documentary. Also has the DC
Okay.
Studios logo.
Okay.
So yeah, DC Studios is starting to make some moves now that they
I'm gonna
finally have a.
have to get my dad to watch the Christopher Reeves documentary. He absolutely loved Christopher
Oh,
Reeves Superman. So
yeah, no, he was my Superman growing up. So
yeah,
I really enjoyed the documentary. It's I believe it's going to get a wider release possibly soon.
very nice.
Um,
Very
and it will
nice.
be on I say HBO Max. I mean, it'll be on Max, just Max, not HBO Max. But I wish they just kept it at HBO Max. Such a
I
better
know.
name. But
I know.
yeah.
Words are tough.
So
We know
yeah,
that.
they are tough for me a lot of the time, which doing a podcast, that's not ideal. But we're gonna work
Mm,
through it. We're gonna get better every day.
there you go.
Just more repetitions.
Just
So
get a slush puppy. You'll be fine.
slush puppy. I've never heard it called a slush puppy. Like
Neither have I.
that's a new one for me.
I'm like, is
So
that a hush puppy or
that's what I thought too. I was
what
like,
is
what are
this?
you talking about, man?
We
Like
just call them
yeah,
slushies or slurpees or whatever
Slurpees.
over here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like ices. I don't
Icy. There
know.
you go. Yeah, I've had an icy in my day. I've had a
When there
few.
used to be 7-Elevens over here, like I don't really think there's that many, but anyway,
Yeah, Target used to have really good ices.
they did.
They probably still do. I don't.
No.
No, they don't
They
anymore.
they got rid of the white cherry icy, and that was my
Okay.
favorite.
Yeah. Well,
So
you would know because you frequent Target quite a bit. So
Target tells me
Target.
what I need. I was just there yesterday. Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on.
Yeah. So, Brittany, any final thoughts on the Penguin episode 1 After Hours?
I would definitely encourage everyone to give it a chance. If you're anything like me who has not been impressed with DC and the decisions that they have made with, you know, some favorite characters, I personally like the kind of dark, gritty, like it doesn't really follow the main storyline of what we've seen. Like I absolutely love Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
Yeah.
I think every time I watch that movie, I pick out something new that I didn't catch the first time.
Yeah.
And with Filet Ado coming out in October, I'm so excited to see him reprise that role and then have Lady Gaga join as Harley Quinn. So I
Yeah.
mean, I like this different view of these characters that we've all come to know throughout our lives. So I'm definitely encouraging everyone to give the show a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Flea do. I can't wait for that one. Actually, I'm going to a special fan screening next Monday night to see that movie. So I will.
Nice.
Yeah, we will definitely have a review for that up in a few
How
weeks.
many popcorn buckets are you gonna get? Is
I
the
don't.
real question. Because if y'all haven't checked out how many popcorn buckets Justin got for Deadpool and Wolverine, go check out our shorts. I mean, they're really
Yeah.
like they're shorts. Obviously, they're really
They're
quick to
short.
watch.
Yeah.
Go like them.
Yeah.
They've gotten a ton of views, Justin. Like, bravo to you. But yeah, the real question is, how many popcorn buckets are you going to get?
So I don't know that they're going to have a ton of merch for Joker Filet do, but if they have something, I'll try to get it. And speaking of popcorn buckets, I bought a couple over the weekend for Batman Day. Saturday was Batman Day, so go check out those popcorn buckets. I did a short about it on Saturday. So
See,
yeah.
we were telling people something new. Mel didn't know about the shorts. She's gonna go check it out.
Yeah, definitely check them out. They're I do my best. I'm not saying I'm like a
Yes.
master at any of this stuff, but I do I try my best. So yeah, check that out.
And
So
we're so proud of you.
thank you very much. So yeah. So I guess that about does it, right?
Yeah.
So now you know what we thought about the first episode of The Penguin. We want to know what you think about it. And Brittany, how can people let us know what they think?
As always, we encourage everyone to join our live chats as we discuss the latest episode from whatever it is that we're watching. And in this case, shout out to Mel, Marcy, King B. Johnson, and anyone else that I might have missed from today's chat.
Yesenia?
Yesenia, yes,
Yep.
she was here. She says she needs to catch up on the shows that we're covering. So do that. Come
Yep.
back. Join us for the live chat. And for those who are watching our replay, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to check us out and our review. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts on the first episode of The Penguin. While you're at it, if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and hit that notification bell. That way you know the next time we go live, which will be tomorrow for Watchers Weekly Football.
Watchers Football Weekly. Yeah.
I'm not on the pod. That's why I don't I didn't say it
It's
right.
okay.
But Justin's here. Frank will be back, hopefully, and then Tristan. So if you're into football, you're into the NFL, go give some love to these guys who love their pigskin. And once again,
Thursday we'll be back with Agatha episode 3.
Yep. Yeah, we'll be back with episode 3 of Agatha all along. You have plenty of time to catch up on the first 2 episodes and then come check us out on Thursday. And also, we've got audio podcasts available to you on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Be sure to give us a follow and give us a 5-star rating.
Thank you, Brittany. I appreciate it. So for Brittany, I am Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.